All right, back out in the garage again. This video is probably kind of short and sweet because my plan is to get blocks off, maybe pull the pistons out, show you what those look like. Maybe look at the rod bearings because those things, of course this tractor's got a lot of hours on it, but they're kind of looking a little rough. And yeah, get on down the road with this thing. So all the bolts are loose and I've got the blocks cracked loose from the gaskets. Mostly. Come on. Ah. Yeah, they're kind of heavy. I'd forgotten about that part. Yeah, a little awkward to deal with. But, there we go. That's awesome. All right. So, blocks are out. Let's here like this. Reset the tripod a little bit there. All right, let's see. So here should be number one, I think. Boy, number one. I can't tell. I gotta cheat. Well, that one's not marked, so I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, that one's number one. But let's see. Kind of the reason I wanted to pull those pistons out is I see all this crusty stuff that got down in there. Light scuffing. I don't know. Yeah. So there's that one. I don't know if I put this in one of my videos earlier or not, but when I took the water pump off, when I was tearing this thing apart, I noticed that, hey, guess what? Yeah, water pump locked up. So we'll be rebuilding another water pump. Just like we did on Grandpa's R. Stay. All right, this one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at all that crap. Definitely did not want to try and restart this engine, all that crap in there. And that one there. Yep, that one's number two. Yeah. Other than all the crap on the top. Yeah. Yep, that was number three. And again, lots of stuff. I assume it's probably rust and stuff that maybe flaked down out of the exhaust manifold, intake exhaust manifold. I don't know. But all this oil on this piston, that's automatic transmission fluid that I shot down in the spark plug holes before I ever tried to do much with this bad boy. Oh, say it's been sitting for, I'm guessing, close to 15 years after blowing that head gasket. Oh my. Whew. Look at all that nasty stuff. It even almost looks like maybe some rust, like from some water that had gotten in there. Which, I mean, it's possible, I suppose. As long as it's been sitting. There's should be hip number 4. Little fun fact about this tractor. Pull this on here. Many moons ago, I'd had freeze plug between the blocks. Maybe that one. I bet it was that one. Popped out over the winter time. So took this over to my brother. Well, I don't even know. Yeah, I think he was my brother-in-law at the time. I think so. Anyway, took it over to his place, and because they had a shop, barn, a shop. They had a barn that had walls and stuff on it that I didn't have to work outside in the freaking cold, and pulled it apart, put a new freeze plug in it. But somehow in the process of doing all that, connecting rod swung and slapped the side of the cylinder sleeve, whatever you want to call it, where it hangs down into the block, and it well, it actually knocked a little chunk of it out, and it put a crack kind of up the cylinder wall a little bit. So the suggested solution from the local engine guru would put a couple big hose clamps. Yeah. I hope Squatch 253 watches this. He's a guy that I watch, another YouTube channel guy. He's got his beer can engine and I've got mine, and I intend to put mine right back together just the way it was. I smeared a bunch of JB Weld or epoxy or I don't know, something under there, a couple hose clamps. I mean, there's really no pressure by the time the piston gets down to that. There's no compression pressure or anything. That's just a yeah. And I tried to save it because these are not stock pistons. These are not your standard overbore pistons. These are, I may have to clean one of them up. I forget now. Tell you what, you're looking kind of naked over there. Topless. Those EB's looking kind of topless. Come on, get in there. Put this like that. Let's come over here. Let's put this over like this. Yep. And then I think I had. No, just fall on the floor. It'll be fine. Turn there. Let's see what I'm filming here a little bit. So M&W Gear Company was notorious for building overbore kits for just about everybody. 100 1/4 over was pretty standard overbore for the Moline stuff, and just about all the models. Yep, there it is. I don't know if this is going to show up on the video or not, but I got it cleaned up. Right there's 020. That's a 20 thousandths over piston, but not just 20 thousandths over piston. That's 20 thousandths over the 125. So this is actually 145 thousandths over the stock bore. So between the big pistons and the high compression LP headland down there, the old girl had some snort. She'd hang right in there with and this one guy had a H or Super H Farmall. He had about 10 grand in the motor because it had the M&W stroker crank and all kind of stuff, and I could hang right there with him. A little better tires, a little better weight. Like I said in an earlier video, if I'd have dropped the weight and lowered the hitch a little bit, balanced out a little better percentage wise, I'd have been right there with him. But I was young back then. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Blocks are out, pistons need cleaned up. We'll get those good and cleaned up, and then they'll be ready to go back in. I've already got new gaskets to put back down on there. So I got to get more fuel for the heater, because I'm out. All I got left is what's in the heater, and I need to clean up this mess over here a little bit so I can get over to my wire wheel, little bench grinder with the wire wheel, to buzz the top of those pistons, get the rest of that crap off the top, and then get my parts cleaner tub cleaned out a little bit so I can finish rinsing all the junk off those pistons so that they're nice and clean while I put them back in. And yeah, it shouldn't be too bad to get the top half back in, but I think I am going to. Well, that one's not so bad. Let's look at that. There's a lot of copper showing on that rod bearing. A little bit there, a little bit there. I think this might be. Nope. Yeah, some showing there. That's the one. A lot of copper showing right there. And so I had 3 rods that were held on with bolts like this that weren't properly safety wired or clipped, and 1 rod that was on like this with bolts like that. And in the process of taking rod bolts loose, it was obvious the torque on all 4 rods was completely different from rod to rod. So I'll get some new rod bearings for it. Gonna try and get 1 more set of rod bolts like that. And dig around, find my safety wire and my safety wire pliers, and we will safety wire the rod bolts back on when we put it back together. So, and I mean, for no more, I intend to run it between now and dead. It should be fine, because I've been running on this motor like this for 20 years probably, at least. I bought the tractor in 1990, 91. Probably put those rod bearings in them in 91, 92. And that's pistons and the piston rings and rod bearings went in back then. And I've not done anything with it since then. And I have plowed with it, I've pulled with it, I've dynoed the snot out of it. So yeah, that's the plan. We'll get blocks wiped out, get the pistons cleaned up and stuff, get that scraped off, bottom of the block scraped off, new gaskets, set the blocks down on. You know, I think once I get the blocks set back down there, I can even put the head gaskets on and torque the heads, because I can do all that before I put rod bearings in. Because we'll put the pistons in, set them back down on there, and then I can put the rod bearings in with the blocks and pistons and head in place. So anyway, that's the plan. So hopefully you guys come back and watch some more, and I'll be back.